Local 4 News begins right now with a breaking news alert.
4 Live radar is lit up. We have a flood watch, flood concerns on your Thursday and beyond.
Plus, the driver of a semi-truck loses control and flies off the Rouge River Bridge. We'll tell you more about that coming up in just a minute. But first, of course, we're dealing with some weather in our area. Tigers game canceled because of the rain today, and really we're seeing rain in all parts of Metro Detroit.
It's crazy, and it's relentless. It's going to keep going, and we've been talking about this, but sometimes you don't quite get it until you're out in it. So we're just warning everybody, flood watch is in effect, and it will continue for the next 36 hours or so. So here's a look at from Windsor across the river to downtown Detroit, 46 degrees. This is where we're going to stay for most of the day. As long as it's raining, we're not going to really get out of the 40s. That northeast wind produces a little bit of a bite. Flood watch for just about the entire area with the exception of Livingston, Genesee, Lapeer, and Sanilac counties, all not included, but it goes all the way through Friday evening. 1 to 3 inches of rain or more. And you know everybody's been out doing the yard work, so some of the storm drains could get clogged up. Some of your streets, flood-prone areas really need to watch out. Rivers and streams as well. Close-up look here from Warren to downtown Detroit. Heavy batch of rain here as you head out into the Ann Arbor area and Washtenaw County. Pretty heavy rain there too, and we widen the view just to show you more of the same streaming up from the south. It is going to be a soaker. 50 degrees, kind of a pipe dream. I don't think we're going to hit that. Rain all day, and again 1 to 3 inches plus. Pretty serious stuff, Evrod.
All righty, Brandon, thank you. Right now, we want to get to breaking news on the Rouge River Bridge. A semi-truck has fallen off of the freeway right in southwest Detroit, right onto the ground below. We want to get out to our Paula Tubman, who's joining us there live on the scene. Paula, you could only imagine the damage to this truck and any injuries that this driver would have sustained falling so far.
Well, you know what, Evrod, when you do the math, this really should be a very, very different story. So apparently this truck hit a slick spot with all of this rain going northbound over the I-75 Rouge River Bridge, hit at least 2 other vehicles, came off the bridge down to an embankment down below the bridge, and from there the visuals were incredible. The injuries that he didn't sustain, most incredible. The chopper video tells the tale. A truck plunges off of I-75 northbound as it's exiting at Dearborn Road. It lands below. The pictures are dramatic and terrifying until you get up close, and then the story becomes a miracle. We have incredible access and up-close vantages as the driver of Northfield Trucking Company is treated at the scene by first responders. He tells them he bit his lip or his tongue on impact and his arm aches. It might be broken. But these do not appear to be life-threatening injuries. And even first responders are shocked at the condition of the driver, given the fall. Juan lives across from the bridge. He heard a bang. He came running.
I was laying down, I heard a noise, and then I looked out the window and I saw the semi, just the whole box flip over and then just fell onto the side of this. I actually ran from my house over here right away because I thought something worse happened because it was pretty bad.
He tells us 2 men beat him to the scene and helped drag the driver from the mangled mess that used to be his cab. First responders are able to stabilize the driver, who says he hit a slick spot in the rain on the freeway, and the next thing he knew, he was on the ground. But this could be an entirely different story. Note an active train track on the other side of the freeway. Now, southbound of this bridge is closed for construction, but farther north, and he could have hit a train in the tumble, or a train could have struck him. He could have far more serious injuries, yet he survives this ordeal. Yeah, that in itself is absolutely incredible. So you can see right here we've got 3 heavy tow trucks, heavy truck tow trucks. Another one is getting into position right here, trying to lift this truck from Northfield Trucking Company. That's out of Taylor and Romulus, from what I can tell. The truck, I shouldn't say the cab, I should say the semi part was empty. I don't know if that had anything to do with the lessening of the injuries because there was less weight to fall. A total of 3 people in the hospital, all said to have minor injuries, and that's the big headline. Minor injuries, Evrod, with an accident like this, that's good news.
Yeah. It certainly is. Nothing short of a miracle, and whatever you believe in, clearly someone was watching over him. Paula, thank you. When I get to more breaking news that we're following of another semi-accident, this one in Southfield this time, the accident on I-696 just past the Lodge Freeway, and that is where a semi has crashed into a ditch. You're looking at video from Sky 4. Right now, traffic getting by in just one lane. We'll keep you updated as to when this accident clears. Make sure you stay with us on the air and online at clickondetroit.com for the latest. We'll follow this story for you and the other story along the Rouge River Bridge as well. Happening today, the House of Representatives currently voting on the GOP health care bill. 2 months ago, a vote on a similar health care bill was canceled because GOP leaders feared they didn't have enough votes. Leaders are insisting that this time they'll get it across the finish line. And they say that they have the votes that they need. House leaders revamped the bill over concerns for people with pre-existing conditions losing coverage. But congressional analysts estimate 14 million Americans will lose their health insurance by next year if this bill becomes a law. A Roseville man now has been charged after his dog mauled 2 people just last week. 29-year-old Robert Lawton is charged with 2 counts of owning a dangerous animal causing serious injury. It was back on April 30th when his dog attacked his mother and his mother's boyfriend after they let the dog out of its cage. The mother is in good condition, is expected to be released from the hospital any day now. Her boyfriend, however, is in critical condition still. Detroit police are looking for 2 gunmen after a deadly shooting outside of a Valero gas station. This happened just late last night at the Valero gas station on Pearson Street and 7 Mile Roads. That's where a 21-year-old man was killed and 2 others were injured, ages 21 and 31, when 2 men shot up a van with 5 people inside. At this time, it's unclear what led up to this shooting, but if you know anything, you're asked to call Detroit police. 2 fallen Detroit police officers were honored this morning. Sergeant Kenneth Stile and Corporal Myron Jarrett both died in the line of duty last year. Today, the officers' widows were presented with plaques honoring the officers. The plaques were mounted on the Fallen Officer Memorial Wall and unveiled at Detroit Public Safety's headquarters, the one right there on 3rd Street here in downtown Detroit. Well, one of Detroit's oldest charter schools is set to close this summer. The Workforce Development Agency says Woodward Academy, located on East Lafayette near 375, will close on June 30th. The school's so-called authorizer, Central Michigan University, says it will not authorize the school's operation past the end of the school year. In total, 65 employees are expected to be displaced. Well, he was Detroit's most famous priest, and this afternoon, the late Father Solanus Casey is in a place few American clergy have ever been, one step away from sainthood. His Holiness Pope Francis made the announcement this morning in Rome. Local 4's Rob Maloney is joining us live now on the east side at the Father Solanus Casey Center with the reaction. Around, I imagine there must be a lot of happy Catholics out there.
Oh, you bet. Tears of joy out here, Evrod, as they think about it's been 60 years since they started praying to put Father Solanus Casey where he is today, this close to sainthood. Now, they say that he was a humble Capuchin father, but his love and his faith and his caring are legendary. Wendy Agnello of St. Clair Shores came to Detroit this morning and prayed before Father Solanus Casey's tomb. This is the very spot where the miracle happened that gave the Vatican reason to beatify Father Solanus Casey. Wendy volunteered here at the Solanus Center years ago and felt compelled to come and rejoice.
The grace, the peace with him, the gentleness with him, everything about who he was as a person should be emulated by all of us.
Father Solanus Casey was born Barney Casey, one of 16 farm children in Wisconsin. He worked many jobs but found his way to the seminary where he all but flunked out. But his faith was so strong the seminary suggested a religious order for him, and there he found his way to his dream of the priesthood. He came to Detroit and tended to the poor and the sick and made a name for himself in healing. Archbishop Alan Vigneron spoke at the news conference this morning.
The beatification of Father Solanus is one more proof that God loves the city of Detroit and God loves our community.
And Father Solanus' brother friars were touched and gratified for the Pope's decision. Father David Pruce spoke of the miracle and the honor.
We give praise for the opportunity to give God greater honor through the recognition of the holiness that was given to Father Solanus Casey.
So when you get beatified, you have to have a miracle. What was that miracle? Well, the Vatican says that a healing of a genetic skin disease of a woman who was praying before Father Solanus Casey's tomb was the one that was approved, because doctors looked at it and they say it was an absolute miracle, and so that's how he was beatified. But here's the problem for the last step of this. They have to find another miracle for Father Casey. They're going to work on that now. It could take a few more years, but the belief here is that one day, very soon, Father Solanus Casey is going to be Saint Solanus. Reporting live in Detroit, Rod Maloney, Local 4.
A very fitting title and clearly changed the lives of a lot of people. Rod, thank you. Still ahead here on Local 4 News at noon. Major flooding in parts of the Midwest. We'll tell you what's now being done to ensure the safety of those impacted by the heavy rain. Plus, the evolution of the cell phone. For the first time in history, what the cell phone has done to families across the nation. And the major announcement from Buckingham Palace in England that is forcing somewhat of a changing of the guards. That and more when we come right back. Welcome back. Now to a big announcement from Great Britain today, as Prince Philip will stop carrying out public engagements. The 95-year-old has suffered from heart problems in recent years, but has continued a pretty rigorous public schedule. So in order to keep Philip healthy, Buckingham Palace officials announced today that he'll stop all public appearances beginning this fall. Philip, who's married to Queen Elizabeth II, has the full support of the royal staff in his decision. FBI Director James Comey says he stands by his decision to reopen the investigation into Hillary Clinton just days before the presidential election. Comey says what led him to revisit the investigation was the discovery of thousands of emails on a laptop belonging to former Congressman Anthony Weiner, who was married to a top Clinton aide. Comey says while he defends his decision, it makes him sick to think his decision could have impacted voters. The House has passed a massive spending bill. The $1.1 trillion measure passed with overwhelming support, with more than 100 reps voting in favor. Now, if the bill passes, it will increase spending for national defense, border security, and fund the government through September 30th. It'll now head to the Senate, where a vote is expected a little bit later this week. All right, still ahead here on Local 4 News at noon. It is one of the most annoying tasks. We're talking about changing your password. Now we're going to tell you why experts say changing it so often makes it less secure. Brandon?
We certainly need to take this very seriously. We've, over the last few days, been showing you the floods down in St. Louis, parts of Arkansas, down into Texas and Louisiana. And this is all coming from that same batch of wet weather from the Gulf. As we look at the Warren area about to get super soaked, and this is hours and days of wet, windy, and wild weather next.
1 minute, her daughter is sitting on the front porch. The next, she's gone.
She never showed up.
Her 16-year-old daughter caught in the middle of a sex trafficking ring.
And these guys are good. They're very good.
But what this mom did saved her child.
She would have been probably dead by now.
I'm Local 4 defender Karen Drew. Don't think your child could be the next target? Don't miss my special report tonight at 11.
If you're Welcome back, everybody. For the first time ever, cell phones outnumber landlines here in the U.S. There was a new study by the CDC's National Center for Health Statistics that says more than half American homes only have cell phones. The study also found an estimated 7.4 million adults and 2.3 million children have no access to telephones in their homes at all. Some of us still have both. Well, it's one of the most annoying tasks that you have to do, changing your password. And with today being National Password Day, yeah, there's such a thing, cyber experts are now saying we shouldn't change it as often as we do. They say it makes users less secure. Head of Technology at the National Cyber Crime Unit says changing your password is just a myth told to consumers. Experts say that changing passwords regularly results in weaker and more predictable passwords.
Why are we under a flood watch? Well, you have to watch the history of the weather that's coming your way. I don't think anything like this, but at least 5 people are dead after severe thunderstorms caused massive flooding across the Midwest. The historic flooding has affected homes in Missouri, Arkansas, Illinois. Unfortunately, damage is far from over as rain is expected to stay heavy and hit many of the affected areas again today and tonight. In the meantime, crews have shut down several roads and cut off major waterways to keep residents safe. Turn around, don't drown. You see that bus heading into that water there. Not something we want to do. If we run into that, that is the National Weather Service motto, and it is for your own good and safety. Find another way. Flood watch includes all of Metro Detroit, Southern Ontario too, be careful. But Livingston, Genesee, Lapeer, and Sanilac counties are not included. This goes all the way through tomorrow evening. That just tells you how much more rain or how consistent it will be. 46 degrees with a northeast wind at 10. Visibility is down to 3 miles. And part of the reason we have this flood watch is because of the streets, because of your basements, and certainly want to be careful just getting around, making sure that we're all safe. So comparing temperatures now to yesterday, we're about 10 degrees colder at the noon hour than we were this time yesterday. It feels chilly, cool, wet, and windy. The 3 words we need to remember over the next 3 days. Currently seeing some of these heavier showers in yellow. Mount Clemens down to Warren. It includes Fraser, St. Clair Shores. Everything is moving in general from southwest to northeast. And so you see some of that heavy flooding rain that we showed you in parts of Missouri, Illinois, and farther down south. Well, that is all pivoting here and will be with us and could be even heavier through the afternoon and evening hours today. Area roads, streams, and basements. Flooding concerns. The evening commute will not be good. It will be slippery, dangerous. Friday still soaking, cool, and breezy. So 50 degrees today, rain all day, and tonight overnight still dealing with it. As we look at, again, one of our rainfall forecasts that goes through Friday evening, this little area in red or orange is that 3+. Even 4+ in some areas. A little less to the west and north, but everybody be prepared. Again, tomorrow, at least, Evrod, the first half of the day will be a lot like today, finally starting to dry out on Sunday.
All righty, finally, Brandon, thank you. Still ahead here on Local 4 News at noon, a batter practicing his swing just a little too late, I guess you could say. We'll tell you why this New York Yankee chose the dugout to work on his technique.
Replay song.
All right, so before we go, you have got to see how this Yankees player overreacted last night after he struck out.
Like he was back in the 3rd grade here. In the 6th inning of last night's game, Yankee outfielder Brett Gardner struck out. He clearly was not happy with the call, so he took out his frustrations.
Bam! Bam!
He beat a recycling bin with his bat.
It turns out his outburst, though, might have been a little inspiring for him and the team. Despite trailing at the time, the Yankees rallied. They won the game. So maybe that's how you practice. You know what I mean? Like the Peacocks.
Yeah, that's right.
The Local 4 baseball team.
The mighty Peacocks.
Softball.
Right.
Maybe you guys practice like that, and maybe you'd win some games.
You know, that's more of like Jason Colthorpe starts beating stuff in the dugout with his bat.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you would pretend that the recycling bin was Jason Colthorpe. Today, a nurse who is from Windsor but works at St. John's Hospital here in Detroit will make an appearance on Ellen.
Yeah, Maggie is on Ellen, and she's been a big inspiration to Maggie her whole life.
And why do you like nursing so much?
It's honestly like the most amazing feeling just to give back to people. And I would work for free, and just, you're my inspiration every day is just to give back to people, and it's like the most amazing thing in the world.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, Maggie.
The most amazing thing in the world. They're going to play a special round of the game, No or Go, with her mother and sister. You can watch Ellen right here on Local 4 at 3 p.m., followed by First at 4. All right? Good luck to her.
Again, a flood watch in effect, so be careful driving and may want to clean out those storm drains.
We'll see you tomorrow, everybody.